On the Fringe with Dan RadioStyle. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. Dude, this guy is like, he went to the mat today. We've got, I don't know, 18 to 20 minutes of video of him talking with a number of different Congress members, a couple good guys that let him actually answer questions. And, oh man, I was frustrated as hell. I was going to keep some of this from you guys, and then I found a whole bunch of snippets, and I'm like, wow, why should I be the only one that was frustrated? Let my audience be frustrated with me. So we're going to enjoy this together. Got a lot to talk about in the big picture as well. So let's get to hopping to it, as they would say. And for those of you that are like literally clickbaited in, like RFK Jr.'s here, right? So just once I get here, or skip ahead to this section, and that's where all the RFK stuff is. Got a little bit to cover beforehand, but no big deal. Dan Scavino posted something interesting. I don't know, scandalous. I don't know. What do you want to call it? POTUS just may break the internet shortly. Okay. Okay? Wow. In Portugal, weird thing. At least 17 dead in Lisbon cable streetcar crash. Today is 9/4, which is a 13 number. I had another story that popped up with 13 in it, and apparently didn't make the cut. I was looking for it. Maybe if it pops up, we'll see. But yeah, 17 dead on a 13 number day. Interesting as well. FBI, when it comes to John Bolton's house, we're getting some information. Definitely looking like John Bolton's going to be indicted for sure. Is what it's sounding like, anyways. They raided his home. They found a whole bunch of stuff in it. Let's see. They investigation of the allegations that he snuck national security files out of the White House during President Trump's first term by emailing them to family members on a private server. High-ranking FBI officials had said. In addition to the high-tech hardware, agents confiscated 2 USB drives, a hard drive, 4 boxes of printed daily activities, typed documents in folders labeled Trump 1 through 4, or I through IV, basically, if you want to do Roman numerals, and a white binder labeled Statements and Reflections to Allied Strikes. Yeah, he had a whole bunch of stuff in there that was classified, and then responding to it so this person could write the book for him. Dude's going to be in trouble. They're digging in deeper. We'll see where that goes. D.C. sues Trump administration to stop the National Guard deployment, but Trump, he has no decide or decision. He's no idea. He's not going to stop. Let's put it that way. All right? He has no inclination of stopping. D.C. National Guard troop orders have been extended through December, is what a report is saying. So they may be fighting it in court. Sure. That makes sense. Trump's made it safe, and he's going to continue to make it safe. And he knows, like, I think a lot of the criminals know too, like, once the National Guard gets out of there and it just goes back to normal DC, we'll start going right back to what we were doing. But I don't think Trump's got any intent on letting that happen at all. In fact, he wants DC to be safe. A lot of talk about what's going on with the budget, the government shutdown, potential government shutdown. Democrats are trying to play really, really, really hardball right now, basically saying, look, you got to give us some of this money, U.S. aid and stuff like that. You got to give us some of this money, or we're not going to play ball. We're not gonna let you guys walk this through the finish line unless you give us something. I'm hoping Johnson's got the gumption to keep from giving them anything. Certainly, we've got some traitor Republicans in the House for sure. We'll talk about a few of them. But yeah, the only way to avoid a shutdown is to work in a bipartisan way, is what the Democrats are saying. Now, bipartisan way, Democrats don't ever do anything bipartisan. They didn't when they were in charge. They never gave a crap what we thought, right? In fact, we've got so many rhinos, they didn't have to work as hard at it as we have to. We actually have to find legitimate people. They don't. So, yeah, Schumer and Jeffries are pushing hard for shutdown or else. We'll see if we can call them on it, because ultimately I think it's going to be their fault. We'll see. GOP lurches towards shutdown as Democrats vow they won't be rolled. In fact, it was this that Claire Vice Chair Patty Murray said this, Democrat from Washington, said, that is a Republican shutdown. There is no reason for Republicans to walk away from this table, not after the progress we've made this summer. So they're under this impression that somehow we owe this to them, which we don't. And so this is a very important part where I think we've got to make sure the ripples are kind of showing that we do not support this. There needs to be an overwhelming amount of noise in the zeitgeist, if you will, that suggests this is, in fact, not going to roll. We're not going to roll over. We're not going to let you have anything, Democrats. Sorry, it ain't happening. And on top of that, we're going to continue to take more of your power away in this upcoming election. You watch. You guys are going to try to do something crazy too, and it's not going to work. Fiscal hawks are firing warning shots in the House ahead of the shutdown deadline. Speaker Mike Johnson sent a message about confrontational members' postures ahead of an end-of-month shutdown deadline and allowed them to vent frustrations about how leaders handled conservative amendments on the funding bill. This bill narrowly passed on a 214-213 vote, with 4 Republicans joining all Democrats in opposing it. Moderate Rep. Brian Fitzpatrick, Libertarian Thomas Massey, Rep. Tom McClintock, and former Freedom Caucus Chair Scott Perry. These 4 voted with Democrats. And these 4 should never get reelected again, especially Massey. Dude, Massey should, whatever. So we barely passed this. We got it through. A couple of the Freedom Caucus people changed their vote last minute. Thank goodness. Andy Biggs and Chip Roy. And believe me, guys, you are 2 people that can't just willy-nilly do whatever the hell you want and stop things. Marjorie Taylor Greene, nor can you. I love the fact that you guys are on the Freedom Caucus, but frankly, most of us that have been following government for any length of time find whenever there is a group or organization or bill that's got a very special, unique name, well, it's almost never what it claims. Freedom Caucus. I doubt you guys are about freedom, really. I really do. Maybe you are. You got a high bar to meet. I don't have to give you anything. You're in Congress. We don't trust you. Show us why we should. Otherwise, yeah, like she's saying, Jean Carroll. Trump's trying to appeal this. It's supposed to get up to the Supreme Court is the expectation. He's trying to get that ball rolling. That'll be a fantastic day. This is for the $5 million jury verdict that held him liable for sexually abusing and defaming the writer and alleged fabulous. This is the one that they were then able to go after the other money because he never raped her. He never did any of the things that she accused him of, or at least they didn't really get him on that. But they held him liable for sexually abusing and defaming the writer. There was no evidence, proof. She couldn't remember when. There's just so many things about this that were incredibly wrong. If anything, it should get a mistrial and a retrial or something if they want to, with a totally different court. And they're obviously going to appeal the other court case as well with E. Jean Carroll of $400 million, whatever the hell. CBP seizes $238,000 of narcotics at the border pass. We've actually got quite a few success stories to talk about. This particular one, they got one car. Ended up with 22.7 pounds of methamphetamine, 2.3 pounds of cocaine, estimated street value of about $238,000. One car. They had, I guess, some coolers in there that had some lining, and that's where they found this stuff. The drug dogs were able to find it. So, again, good work. Marco Rubio backs Trump's strikes on the narco-terrorists, says more are coming. Says, who knows, maybe there's one happening right now. But he talked about it. He said they knew who they were. And, rather than interdicting them and these people essentially losing 2% of their product, which is what they, kind of factor into business, Marco Rubio explained very beautifully that, no, we're not playing that game anymore. So, yeah, here's the thing. You're not only going to lose 2% of your product, you're also going to lose the people that were on this boat. We're not going to arrest them. We're going to blow them up. They're in international waters. They are considered a crime or a criminal group against America. They're of a country that we are not happy with right now. So there's no reason why Trump can't handle this from a military standpoint. Now, I'm sure someone's going to try to sue him for that too. Some district court's going to say you have to stop blowing people up. We'll see. Gene Piero talking about a huge bust of the pre-materials for methamphetamine. I believe this particular story is, this is for the, for methamphetamine. This is like your Breaking Bad stuff going on here, the blue stuff, which, by the way, was supposedly, it was like watermelon flavored or blue raspberry flavored candy, like rock candy. That's what it was in Breaking Bad. The blue stuff was actually candy. Yummy.
Hi everyone, I'm Judge Janine and I am in Houston, Texas, and I am surrounded by 1,300 barrels of precursors that are being used to make methamphetamines. These precursors were seized as a result of work by my office in Washington, D.C., along with Homeland Security and Customs and Border Patrol. These 1,300 barrels were shipped from Shanghai, China to Mexico. We intercepted these precursors on the high seas, and now the Sinaloa cartel will not be able to use them to make methamphetamines. And the bottom line is this: whenever there is an effort on the part of foreign terrorist organizations to create drugs that are killing Americans, we will seize them, whether it's on the high seas or whether it's in the country or a foreign country. And by the way, it's going to take 24 18-wheelers to take all of these containers and put them in a secure storage facility. And that's what we're doing in D.C., but we're doing it in Houston today. And you never know where we're going to be tomorrow.
I hope we can use this stuff for other things. Otherwise, why are we hanging on to it? Shouldn't we just pour it out someplace? Dump it down the drain, figuratively speaking? I'm assuming it's probably not okay to just literally dump down the drain. Pop in the hair trap and hope all goes well. FBI announces groundbreaking indictment targeting Chinese fentanyl trafficking network. This was a federal grand jury in Dayton, Ohio, has charged multiple defendants, including Chinese nationals and companies, in connection with narcotics trafficking and money laundering conspiracies involving fentanyl precursors. Again, a lot of these precursors. It's the big word. It's the big word of the day. The password is precursor. We've got it going. Yeah. Trump opens another deportation center at notorious Angola prison. I think it's Louisiana. In Louisiana, lockup is what it was called as well. The Louisiana State Penitentiary, commonly known as Angola. So he's got another place that I'm sure judges are going to try to shut down any day now as well. The Biden auto pen scandal. Who was really running the White House? The Committee on Oversight has posted this out. James Comer. Oversight Republicans are investigating whether President Joe Biden's cognitive decline was cover-up by his inner circle and if critical decisions were made on his behalf using an auto pen, including executive actions, pardons, and policy directives. While Biden was allegedly unfit to perform his duties, several high-level aides are reported to have been operating with unchecked authority. Some of these witnesses who are closest to Biden have invoked the Fifth Amendment, refusing to testify willingly, attempted to delay their appearances before the committee, and hiding the truth from the American people. They're digging, and they're going to keep digging. And so as we get more information, we'll see. There's a lot of people that are suspicious that this will actually lead to the undoing of the pardons. That is probably one of the big things that needs to happen. I would say that's going to be key, and then getting elections to some form of paper ballots and make sure that sticks legally. That'll be huge. That'll be a big part of where we move forward, I think, going from here. Slightly complex problem. And it was funny as initially when I saw this story, I was like, I came up with this very complex problem with this. And then I found a story that basically called out the part of my complex problem that I was so proud of myself for thinking up by myself. And then someone else had thought it up too. So I was like, well, shit. Whatever the case is, here we are. Transgender shooter. The Socialist Rifle Association. The alarming rise of far-left militancy. And this brings up a great point. Now, the left wants us to be like, well, I think people that are transgender or on transgender drugs probably shouldn't be able to own a firearm. Because some could say they're mentally, incapacitated in some way, shape, or form. They expect everyone to believe some sort of fake world that isn't true to us. Like, I can tell you're a dude. You may not believe you're a dude, but I can tell you're a dude. So I don't have to believe in your world. So there's a question about whether or not these individuals should own firearms. Now, that's a fun argument in and of itself. I mean, they are potentially mental patients, right? In one way, shape, or form. A lot of them are on certain drugs, certain receptor blockers, right? So we've got a weird thing. And I was like, just put this out to the people, get them thinking about it. And then this pops up. I'm like, what? Justice Department considering ban on transgendered people owning firearms. And the other side of me kicks in, like, what? We're taking away the opportunity for people to have firearms? Now, a lot of people are going to be like, well, but they could use them for bad. Well, they could use a car for bad. They could use explosives for bad. They could use knives for bad. A lot of things for bad, right? It's not the tool. It's the individual, who sometimes we'd also call a tool, but that's a different kind of tool altogether. So this is a big question. And again, I'm in tongue-in-cheek in it a little, but it really is. It's a big deal. Like, do we take away the right to own firearms because of mental disorders? And again, probably should. Probably. But where does that line get drawn? And that's where the left wants to have. They love wiggle room. They love lines that are kind of blurry. They love blurry lines. Good song by Robin Thicke, by the way. Robin Thicke, I think it was. Blurred Lines, maybe what it was. There's an unedited version of that video that's awesome. Got like lots of nudity. Love that. Yeah, it's wrong, but so what? Justice Department, we'll see. Big stuff. This is tripping me out, folks. I know I talk about it. So I finally looked at, I forget the thing. I told you guys the dime size thing. I've been talking about it for like ever. So I was like, holy crap, I've forgotten to even notice it for a few days. So today, I actually noticed it. It's almost completely gone. There's this faint, like I can see where it is, but it's so faint, and it's going away. Now, the thing that's tripping me out, I don't know if I could show these or not, right here, right? I don't know if you can see that, right? There's a little red dot. It's tiny, right? But you can see it, okay? That is what I got like, oh shit, that's what I got like, I don't know, 20 to 30 of. Those, everywhere except here. This is the only one, by the way, that's still red. All the other ones are turning to a like a black color, or like, like a darker color, but it like not fresh blood flow color, but more like something that's healing. So I literally, like I said a couple days ago, I took a picture because I'm expecting that some of these things, I got a couple small teeny tiny ones that are starting to form, or were, those are getting darker, and they'll probably go away. So I'm very much enjoying the process on my parasitic cleanse. I am noticing a whole bunch of things with my body, my physique, my digestion. I am noticing a whole bunch of stuff. So the best sellers is the best place to go. They've got all the most important products. First off, the Ultimate Spike Detox. You know anybody, if you're living with somebody that rolled up their sleeve, or if you did yourself, this Ultimate Spike Detox actually looks for that spike protein, the one that's got the cleavage site. It literally finds it, it's only attracted to it. It is designed to find it, and nothing else is attractive to it. It won't bind to anything else. Just bounce off it, whatever, bounce off. And then it finds a cleavage site, whoop, and it's there. And then what it does is it pulls it out of your system. You end up peeing it out or pooing it out, one of the two. One way or the other, it leaves your body. That's what the Ultimate Spike Detox does. It's incredible. So again, not something if you're paranoid, you don't need to worry about it. But if you are literally one of the people that rolled it up or lives with someone, you probably want to do that and maybe talk your friends into taking them too. Medical emergency kit. I just recommend all the emergency kits. They've got a contagion kit that's got all your ivermectin and stuff like that. That's a super good antiviral. You definitely want to consider having those types of kits available. Now, I mean, again, if you're doing this cleanse for 90 days, you ain't got to worry about nothing. You're not going to get sick. You're not going to get a flu. You're not nothing. There's no chance. In fact, I mean, it's weird to say this, but like I get cold sores every once in a while. I haven't had a cold sore since I've been taking any of the Ivers or any of the stuff. Like I've been doing it for like a number of months now, and it dawned on me. I was like, oh, it's a viral thing when you think about cold sores and a number of other viruses that exist in our bodies. Parasite, virus, use them interchangeably. They're pretty much the same thing. You'd be amazed how many things don't happen anymore when you've got antivirals in your system. It's a trip. This, again, it's done legally. Doctors, prescribed. It's all legal. They mail it to you. It's literally got a sticker on it with your name on it. It is a prescription. The ivermectin, mebendazole. This is what I am. I love it. I love it. I love what it's doing. I am tripping. It's fixing things I didn't even know were a problem. Stuff I just took for granted. The red dots. I'm just like, I get weird freckles. Like, whatever. Right? It's been happening as I age. No, that's not what they are. In fact, I've got one that's a little weirder, and it's totally starting to shrivel up. It's a trip. I got one of them that's actually like kind of physically sticks out. Like it's almost more like this is gross, too much information, but whatever. It kind of like almost more like a mole, right? But it's one of these red things, and it's like black, and it's starting to kind of harden up. Dude, the shit's going away. I don't know. I'm going to get another one. I hope to God they let you get them every 90 days. Like, I hope this isn't one of those things where you can only order it once, and they're like, yeah, you've got to take 267 days off. I'd be like, dude, that'll suck. Incredible products. Again, longevity. They've got stuff broken down by goal, too. Anti-aging, appetite control. Again, TWC, the wellness company. TWC, the wellness company. Awesome company. I should have had that up the whole time. But twc.health/OTF. 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 Think of your health, and you're going to be amazed at a lot of the cool stuff you notice that starts going away, man. It'll trip you out. I'll say I haven't noticed anything weird with sleep, libido, any of those kinds of things. Like I don't know. Appetite. I don't know. I'm not eating as much, maybe. I don't know if that's related or not. But, yeah. twc.health/OTF. That parasite cleanse. And if you've done any research on parasites, you'll be tripping. You'll be tripping, for sure. Straight tripping, boo. Yeah. This is the creator of the Airbnb stuff, and he basically is talking about why he went from being a Democrat to being a Republican. Again, I think more of this stuff's going to happen. Why do I play it? Most of you guys are not Democrats, but the few of you that maybe are, look, man, you don't have to become a Republican. I'm just saying, just become an independent. Stop being a Democrat. Just publicly denounce the Democratness. It'll hurt, I know, for a moment. You'll have some family members that'll hate you. You'll know how I feel. But you'll also, you'll have this sense of relief. You'll have this sense of freedom. You'll feel like a weight's been lifted off you. A weight of guilt, by the way. Guilt. This white guilt, this privileged guilt, this BS guilt. Yeah, you won't have that on you anymore. It'd be amazing. Needless to say, he's got totally different reasons.
Mid-2021, the activity at the border caught my attention. And I just remember thinking, what's going on with this topic? It seems as if there's no border. And as it got worse that year, I felt like I needed to understand this problem more. So I reached out to my friends, largely on the Democratic side of the house, at all levels, from the highest level all the way down, and had conversations just trying to piece together, like, hey, what am I missing about this? Like, fill me in. I got some answers, but felt unfulfilled. And so, I've been lucky enough to call Josh Kushner, one of my close friends, for a long time. Through him, I've gotten to know Jared. And so I get on the phone with Jared and say, hey, can you help me fill in the gaps for me? Like, what am I missing here? Is this normal? Like, it seems there's no enforcement of our own border. Like,
Yep.
Don't nations need borders to be a nation? Kind of. And so he put me on this curriculum of just talking to experts in the field. And I remember just being like, holy cow, this is crazy. Like, this is not right. This is a real problem. And there's no reason why we shouldn't be enforcing the laws of our country and our border. And so I think as I started to pull on that thread, I sort of, began to look at other topics and eventually came to the point where I don't think I can support a political party that wants to have an open border, that lets in, criminals and dangerous people into our country. That's not something I can get behind.
It's something that's hard to get behind, basically. I mean, really, crime is a tough thing. So we got some major fails going on. We like that. It's just another great example of where the Democrats, we can't really trust their plan. Their plan sucks. Their plan demonstrably sucks. Every place we've got examples of it, it sucks. Not a single student can read at grade level in 30 Illinois schools. 30. Whole bunch of them are in the city of Chicago, specifically School District 299. Apparently that district sucks balls. 0 students who are reading proficiently. 0. There's not one fucking student that can read in these 30 schools. Not one student can read, or at least is proficient. I mean, that probably is even less than like what I'm saying. It's like even less hard to do. You don't even really have to be able to read to be proficient. You just got to be able to see dick run. Like, don't be a dick. I don't know. Chris Papsett put this out. At White House at Real Donald Trump said in Baltimore, 40% of high school students have zero students who can do basic mathematics. 40% of the schools, zero students can do basic mathematics. 30 of the schools, zero people can read proficiently. We got, again, failure factory. Oh, yeah, we have one other set of stats here. U.S. News and World Reports in July ranked Baltimore as the nation's 4th most dangerous city, but perhaps violence is not really the problem. Rather, the violence is a symptom of the real problem, which is failing public school system that for decades has not provided city residents with a quality education. They are failing completely. Baltimore is a very blue state, very blue city, very blue. Absolutely failing, horrific crime, the worst of everything. Seriously, Democrats, like, what do you say for yourself? Somehow, is that Republicans' fault? Because it's never Democrats' fault, ever. I've never, ever seen one Democrat ever, once, ever actually admit they did something wrong. Ever. Find me one, I'd love it. Democrats, it's never their fault. 100% always someone else's fault. California sucking like always. They've undone some stupid law they passed, or well, it's not really a law, it's a regulation. But they've put a 5-year pause on it because our supply issue with gasoline is so bad that if they don't do something radical like undo all the stupid shit they've done, then we'll literally have gas prices that are $8-9 a gallon, and people will lose their ever-loving minds. That's what'll happen. And Gavin Newsom would never get elected for anything. Ever. Just saying. Thousands of pages of records and law enforcement video footage relating to Jeffrey Epstein were released in the first batch of files from the House Oversight Committee's subpoena to the Department of Justice. Though lawmakers said most of this stuff was already public, probably 33,000 pages. That's a step in the right direction, right? I'll keep people busy for about 4 seconds. Trump escalates tariff fight to Supreme Court, seeks expedited review. Again, we'll see where this goes. Looking forward to it. DOJ opens grand jury criminal investigation into Fed Governor Lisa Cook over her mortgage fraud allegations. They're hitting her up for criminal stuff. She will be fired for cause or something, because once you've got felony stuff going on against you, especially for mortgage fraud, you definitely should not be in this job anymore. And it's not like we don't need to give you your day in court, in that we've got 2 loans that you've signed within a short period of time and both have said primary residence. That's a lie. You lied. You know, you may think it's no big deal, but that's the problem. You shouldn't be in the position you're in if you don't think it's a big deal to follow the law. We got another one here. This is the workers that are insisting that Trump must unfreeze nearly $2.2 billion in federal grants going to Harvard. This is oddly, it's funny, it's a district judge, of course, but this is like the plaintiffs. Let's see, it's the American Association of University Professors, the AAUP Harvard Faculty Chapter, the International Union, United Automobile, Aerospace and Agricultural, the Harvard Graduate Students Union, another worker group. So a bunch of groups that don't have standing. They really don't. I don't even think this should have made it this far. I am 100% sure that all of the people that are suing the Trump administration in this lawsuit really don't have standing to sue him. Harvard's going against what the administration wants and is insisting. And because of that, they're not getting federal money. Period. All right, there you go. Unions and everybody else, you can bitch and cry and moan all you want. It won't matter. It doesn't matter at all. All right, RFK. We got a lot of good stuff here. A lot of good stuff with this RFK. So I hope you guys enjoy this. This is, we're going to start with all the shitty stuff because that's pretty much what I saw. And then I saw like a couple good people. It's like, thank the Lord. So we're gonna start with the shitty. We're gonna get you a little frustrated, not intentionally per se, but we do have a few of them that were good that let RFK Jr. actually talk. And again, a lot of these are snippets. I actually watched this thing for 2 hours plus. I was furious that part. There was parts where I literally had to turn the volume down. When Bernie Sanders was talking, I just couldn't deal with him. I literally had to turn the volume down. He was just such an ass. And he started raising his voice. He was a dick. He was worse than Pocahontas, and you're going to hear some of her nasty shit. Oh, my God. I don't want to ruin this for you guys. I'm going to let you enjoy it. Who is this douchehole? I forget what this, Wyden? Yeah, I guess this is Wyden. He's a Democrat that, seriously, I don't even know if he's ever seen the sun. If he's ever been in the sun, I don't think so. Whatever the case is. Here's Wyden being a douche with RFK Jr.
About anything you've done or plans to change it. And my last comment is, I hope that you will tell the American people how many preventable child deaths are an acceptable sacrifice for enacting an agenda that I think is fundamentally cruel and defies common sense. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Do I get a reply? Or, Senator, you've sat in that chair for how long? 20, 25 years, while the chronic disease in our children went up to 76%. And you said nothing. You never asked the question why it's happening. Why is this happening? Today, for the first time in 20 years, we learned that infant mortality has increased in our country. It's not because I came in here. It's because of what happened during the Biden administration that we're going to end.
I'm going to let Senator Wyden respond briefly to that, and then we're not going to go over like
about anything you've done.
So he did respond, but it's just funny how he even wanted to interrupt RFK Jr. like they continued to do throughout the entire testimony because they wouldn't let RFK Jr. talk. So it was pretty crazy how that all continued to play out. Here is Senator Bennett. He's squirming a little bit as Secretary Kennedy kind of counters his nonsense.
I think it's critical for you to share the evidence that this panel will rely on. Will you give the American people 6 months or 6 weeks in advance the record that they're going to rely on to make these decisions? Will you make it transparent for the American people?
All the evidence is transparent.
Will you make it in advance transparent for the American people so they can comment on it?
All the evidence is transparent for the first time in history, and you were never there complaining when the pharmaceutical companies were picking those people and then running their products through with no safety testing.
You can characterize it any way you want. I quoted them today. What I said was accurate. What you said were lies. You described
Senator,
moving the Titanic.
Senator, are you saying that a mRNA vaccine has never been associated with myocarditis or pericarditis in teenagers? Is that what you're trying to tell us?
I am simply trying to say that the people that you have put on that panel, after firing the entire...
You're evading the question.
No, I'm asking the questions here,
You're
Mr.
evading
Kennedy.
that question.
I'm asking the questions,
I
Mr.
asked
Kennedy.
you a question.
I'm asking the questions for Mr. Kennedy on behalf of parents and schools and teachers all over the United States of America who deserve so much better than your leadership. That's what this conversation is about, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, they deserve the truth, and that's what we're going to give them for the first time in the history of that agency.
This dude's pissing them off so bad. Here's Pocahontas. This one's just ridiculous.
Will you tell America that all adults and all children over 6 months of age are eligible to get a COVID booster at their local pharmacy today?
Anybody can get the booster.
I'm sorry?
Anybody can get it, Senator.
Anybody. So you're saying that is now the official rule of HHS Anybody is eligible to get a booster by just walking into the pharmacy.
It's not recommended for healthy people.
No. If you don't recommend, then the consequence of that in many states is that you can't walk into a pharmacy and get one. It means insurance companies don't have to cover the $200 or so cost. As Senator Dr. Cassidy said, you are effectively denying people vaccines.
We're not going to recommend a product for which there's no clinical data for that indication. Is that what I should be doing?
What you should be doing is honoring your promise that you made when you were looking to get confirmed in this job.
You're going like this.
And that is, you promised that you would not take away vaccines from anyone who wanted them. You just changed the classification of the COVID vaccine.
I'm not taking them away from people, Senator.
It takes it away if you can't get it from your pharmacist.
Well, most Americans are going to be able to get it from their pharmacy for free. Most Americans will be able to get it from their pharmacy for free.
The question is everyone who wants it. That was your promise, Mr.
I didn't.
Kennedy,
I never promised that I was going to recommend products for which there is no indication.
When you said...
And I know you've taken $855,000 from pharmaceutical companies, Senator.
Did you hold up a big sign saying that you were lying when you said that? Because you are the one who said you would not take them away. Now, Senator Kennedy,
I'm not taking them away from anybody.
Secretary,
you want me to indicate a product for which there is no clinical data?
Senator,
is that what you want?
Secretary Kennedy, you said you wouldn't, and now you did.
I'm not taking them away. Everybody can get access to them.
No, they can't walk into a pharmacy the way they could last month and get access.
It depends on the state. It depends on the states.
A year ago,
but they can still get it. Everybody can get it. Everybody can get it, Senator.
So look, let's move on.
Everybody can get it. Everybody can get it. That is the important part. Now, again, is it covered by insurance? Is it covered? That's a different story altogether. You're claiming that he's taken it away from you. No. You know, if $200 is too much, first off, then, there's probably other ways you can get it for free. But, again, it's stupid. Stupid argument. This is what they did to him all day long. And they just try to pin him into these, like they'd ask him weird statistics about some, or weird specifics about some, like, criteria within a bill for the Medicaid and what they would file, how much they would pay for a specific thing. And he's like, do you know how much that is? And he's like, I don't. And it's like, well, you don't know? You're the head. You don't. It's just stupid. They did it over and over with just stupid things. It's like, no, I don't. This isn't what I'm here in this company. This is not what I'm doing. I'm not worried about that. So I got people that handle the small little stupid shit. I'm here to handle the important stuff. Robert Kennedy Jr., he was talking to Senator Lankford in this particular little piece. It's kind of nice.
You and I spoke as well, and you've made public statements on this, and the FDA commissioners made public statements on the issue of reviewing the safety issues of mifepristone. Your comments early on were every drug needs to be treated the same, needs to look at the same, and not have political biases and how things are actually examined. There were a lot of changes on the allocation of mifepristone for elective abortions under the Biden administration. It's now open to anyone without a prescription on it. You don't have to go through a doctor on it. There's all kinds of issues that are happening now on it. So the question was, you said that there would be a review on that just to be able to look at it, make sure we're following all safety protocols. Do you know a timing on that review?
I can't give you the exact timing. I talked to Marty McCary about it yesterday, and he said it is progressing apace. We're getting data in all the time, new data that we're reviewing. And we know that during the Biden administration, they actually twisted the data to bury one of the safety signals with a very high safety signal, around 11%. So we're going to make sure that that doesn't happen anymore. We're producing honest science and gold standard science on that. I'll keep you abreast of where we are.
Thank you. Just go where the science leads on that. During the Biden...
just let the record reflect, he said the word breast, which I think is another word for boobies. Just saying. Just saying. I didn't make up the rules. Here is a shouting match happening with, who's he yelling at this time? Oh, yeah, Bennett again. This guy's such a douche. Anyway, here's Here's some more of the fun.
No safety
You
testing.
you can characterize it any way you want. I quoted them today. What I said was accurate.
Oh, wait, we already played this. We played this. We don't need to do him again. No, I say, we will do others, not you. Here, who's he talking to this time? Michael Bennett, I have complete meltdown on TV. Democrat, isn't that the same guy we just had?
Make it transparent for the American people.
All the evidence is transparent.
Will
all
you
the
make
evidence-
it in advance transparent?
Yeah, in advance transparent. So we got that one already too. Oh, we didn't do her yet though. Let's have fun with this lady, whoever she is. Check it out.
Parameters. You did it behind
That
closed
data-
doors.
no, the
And
data's
now
all
parents,
public.
now parents who decide that they do want their children to have
You're just
COVID
making
vaccine
stuff up, Senator.
I'm not
You're
making
just
stuff
making stuff up.
You know, sometimes when you make an accusation, it's kind of a confession, Mr. Kennedy. So let's just settle
happy.
with this. So here's what's going to happen. To Senator Warner's point, to the parents who are concerned all around the country, to people who want to get the COVID vaccine this fall, even if they're under 65, because the boosters have worked, there's been much less serious disease. People do not have the same level of threat and risk from COVID that they used to because of these vaccines. People who want to exercise their freedom of choice are being denied that.
No, they aren't. Everybody can get the vaccine.
Because you are citing data that you won't produce to the public.
You're just
and you are
making things up.
rejecting
You're
science.
making things up to scare people, and it's a lie.
With respect, I do not think I'm the one making things
You
up.
are
Thank you, Mr.
lying
Chair.
right now, Senator.
You're a big fat liar. Liar, liar, pants on fire. All right, let's see. We got Robert F. Kennedy testifying here. This is one of the positive ones. And then I've got, I think, two that I created on my own, just because I was recording them and we were moving through it. But yeah, here we were lied to about everything. We'll start here with this positive one. I forget. I think this is Cornyn. Yeah, this is Cornyn. Needless to say, we've got about 11 and a half minutes of solid positive stuff. So what are the good stuff now? Again, this is a big battle, and trying to get this information in front of the people that don't believe it is going to be the biggest challenge you and I face. You and I, we're the ripple makers. It's hard as hell. So again, a lot of good information is going to be popping up here in the next 11 plus minutes.
Do you believe COVID-19 was politicized?
Yeah, the whole process was politicized. Senator, I mean, we were lied to about everything. We were lied to about natural immunity. We were lied to about, we were told again and again the vaccines would prevent transmission, they'd prevent infection. It wasn't true. They knew it from the start it wasn't true because that's what the animal studies and the clinical trials showed. We were told that there was science behind cloth masks. The CDC allowed the teachers union to write the order closing our schools, which hurt working people all over the country, and then pretend it was science-based. All of these issues, and then I can show you, like, for example, Chairman Wyden was talking about me politicizing ACIP. During COVID, probably the most famous scientist on ACIP was Martin Kulldorff from Harvard, the great, world-renowned epidemiologist and vaccinologist. And he criticized the COVID booster mandates. They ejected him from COVID because he wasn't in the orthodoxy. The two biggest health officials at FDA during COVID, Dr. Gruber and Dr. Krause, criticized the Biden mandates, vaccine mandate. President Biden said in August, I would never take that vaccine, the Trump vaccine. And he came in, he mandated it, and then he fired the two top health officials at FDA who said, hey, this thing has not been properly tested. So the whole process was politicized, and even today.
So let me, I'm 15.
Yeah, and again, he's finally got a chance to speak the truth, speak his mind. And he did exactly that. So, again, he was, just a rock star. He held up. He got beat up on badly. But RFK Jr., you kicked ass, bro. I was proud of you. I think this is the Johnson one, if I remember correctly. There it is, Johnson Kennedy. Yeah, and then the next one, I think it's the next one. Yeah, next one, when he talks to Marshall, the chick, I leave her in. I cut it intentionally a little early because the death look that the senator, I forget what her name is, hopefully we'll see it when we play it, but the death look she gave RFK Jr., like, oh, man, it was precious. I couldn't resist. Anyway, let's get Johnson out of the way. He chronologically came first before douche bitch, coming up here in a second. But that said, here's Johnson.
This abuse, 5 minutes is even close to refute all the falsehoods that have been confidently spewed during this hearing. We'll talk about real data here, okay? Well, first of all, thank you for breaking the logjam of information of HHS. My committee's got now over 8 million pages of information. Just in the first tranche, by the way, what we discovered is that the CDC, somebody in the federal health agencies, this interagency communication, hid the signal. They admitted there was a signal on myocarditis, and they hid it. They didn't warn the public. They didn't warn doctors. So that's just one instance of corruption and lies told by the CDC. We've got a lot of others we'll be rolling out, okay? So we held our first hearing in permanent subcommittee investigation on that hiding of the signal of myocarditis. We've heard a lot of studies, okay? As I've looked into science, it's been thoroughly corrupted. Here's data, and I'd like to enter this sheet into the record. I've been publishing this chart for, since really early 2021, when I'm on, for example, talk radio shows and they talk about this, they get deplatformed, or they were, because all the censorship in the Biden administration. Here's the facts. The VAERS system that was touted in October of 2020, this great safety surveillance system on COVID, a few months later, when they didn't like the results, they started denigrating their own system. But VAERS shows that there have been 38,742 deaths reported on VAERS worldwide associated with the COVID vaccine. 38,742. 9,252 of those deaths occurred on the day of vaccination within 1 or 2 days. Again, I agree with you. Nobody knows how many COVID deaths were because the information was completely corrupted. Nobody knows how many lives were saved by the COVID. Yeah, I think most people, okay, if you're vulnerable, raise your antibodies, reverse severity, fine. There's not any good study on that. There's just information out there, just claims being made. This is hard evidence. And certainly what I've been advocating for are the injection injured, the childhood vaccine injured. We're going to be holding a hearing next Tuesday on a study done by a high-integrity healthcare facility that shows, that actually looked at vaccinated versus unvaccinated, very high-quality study. I'm not going to steal the thunder of Aaron Seary, who's going to be testifying on this. I think you're aware of the study that shows the vaccinated population far more prone to chronic illness than people completely unexposed to vaccines. That is just one example of how science has been corrupted by the way, the study was conducted, and when they conducted this, oh no matter what the results are, we're going to release this. They got the results in 2000. It is yet to be released. We're going to enter that in the record on Tuesday. Do you want to just talk about what you've witnessed in terms of the capture of the agencies that you're now in charge of, the corruption of science, which I believe you just said, that is almost your number one goal, right, is try to bring integrity and credibility back to science, which has been corrupted by the people who pay for it, by federal health agencies being captured by pharmaceutical industries, by big pharma, by big food. I want to give you, I'm sorry, just the last minute to, first of all, defend yourself, but talk about the corruption of science that you're having to deal with and trying to correct.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just tell you one example, and I could sit here and give you thousands. But in 2002, CDC did an internal study of Atlanta and Fulton County, Georgia children, and looked at children who got the MMR vaccine on time and compared those to kids who got them later. So in other words, kids who got them before 36 months and kids who got them afterward. The data from that study showed that black boys who got the vaccine on time had a 260% greater chance of getting an autism diagnosis than children who waited. The chief scientist on that, Dr. William Thompson, the senior vaccine safety scientist at CDC, was ordered to come into a room with 4 other co-authors by his boss, Frank DeStefano, who's the head of the immunization safety branch, and ordered to destroy that data. And then they published it without that fact. So you know that story, I know that story, and you know of hundreds of stories like that. It happens all the time. We are being lied to by these agencies, and we're going to change that right now.
Yeah, he's on fire. I love what he's doing. And again, so we are moving through this. We are trying to wake people up. We are trying to get people to understand this is way bigger.
Being done here.
Way bigger than we realize. There's the evil eyes coming. God, this reminds me of Karen. I hope you don't watch my videos, but man, this chick almost looks like you. Just age you a bunch and add a lot of anger to your face. That he kind of does. Ms. Smith. Anyway, whatever the case is, she is a huge hater of the RFK Jr. But we've got Mr. Marshall after, and he's another one of them that kind of lets Kennedy answer questions. But again, yeah, we've got a big problem that everybody believes that all the science that the FDA has provided is accurate, but they don't understand that it's the same equivalent to the tobacco industry. Back in the 50s and 60s, doctors would tell people smoking was healthy. They would literally tell people smoking was healthy. Where did that science come from? That's the same science that we've got today. Sugar industry, the soda industry, like the chemicals industry, like all of them put out their own information and then just tell people what they want them to believe. And ultimately we do. And then they buy people off on the FDA and they get the stuff approved. And here we are today, right? So again, it's crazy, but this is the world we're undoing. It's not as easy as it sounds.
That is being done here.
Senator Marshall.
All right. Thank you, Chairman, and welcome, Mr. Secretary. One of your themes for the CDC is transparency. And I think when I hear you talk about transparency, I think part of that is sharing what you know, what the CDC knows with parents so that they can make decisions. Behind me, yeah, I know it's going to be hard to see from there. I can barely read it. This is the current CDC recommendations for vaccines for children. On day number 1, they get their first jab, a hepatitis vaccine. By the time they're 18 months, they've had 18 jabs. By the time they get to be able to vote, they have 76 jabs. Now, when I listen, what I hear you say is that, look, vaccines are drugs. We need a measured response and a measured, when do we use this? It's interesting that the United States has put age 65 and older for COVID vaccine. UK has chosen 75 and France 80. Obviously, scientists disagree exactly when that should or shouldn't be. Hepatitis B vaccine, it makes no sense to me. I've only delivered 5,000 babies, but we do a hepatitis test on every mom. By the time she delivers that baby, I know her pretty well. And if she doesn't have any risk factors, if she's not an IV drug abuser, if she's in a stable monogamous relationship, nobody at home has hepatitis, I don't know, I don't see the benefit myself in that hepatitis vaccine. Everyone's eligible for it, everyone can get it, and my pediatricians don't always agree with me. And no, I'm not saying if you don't know the hepatitis status of that patient, they shouldn't get it. I'm not saying if this person's had no prenatal care, that puts them at risk for hepatitis. Can you just speak a little bit, when you talk about transparency, and trying to empower and make vaccines available. These should be treated just like a medication.
Yeah, I mean, I say I'm not anti-vaccine. Saying I'm anti-vaccine is like saying I'm anti-medicine. Well, I'm pro-medicine, but I understand some medicines harm people. Some of them have risks. Some of them have benefits that outweigh those risks for certain populations, and the same is true with vaccines. And we don't understand the risk profile because vaccines are the only medical intervention, medical device, or pharmaceutical drug that are exempt from pre-licensing safety studies. And so there are 2 hepatitis vaccines, and one of them had a safety study that lasted for 4 days on 143 kids for a product that's going to be given to 76 million kids. Yeah. The risk profile prior to the introduction of the vaccine, the risk of a baby dying from hepatitis B was 1 in 7 million. That means you need to give 7 million hepatitis B vaccines to prevent one death. If you're going to give 7 million.
So, Mr. Secretary, and I guess before the press labels me wrong, I'm not anti-vax either. I think MMR has been a great vaccine. The DPT's been a great vaccine. Polio's been a great vaccine. Smallpox. So there are great, but it's the measured approach that we're after, the transparency. You're trying to empower parents here. What I feel the difference is, sometimes my friends across the aisle feel like there's a one-size-fits-all, that they should be telling parents what to do. And what you and I are fighting for is we want to empower parents to make these decisions. I want to talk about morbidity and mortality of COVID for just a second. It is so true that two things can be true, and I don't understand why, just the rabbit hole some of my colleagues are going down. There's a big difference. When I was out there practicing, doing volunteer work, I was so confused myself on the numbers. People dying with COVID versus from COVID. And we still don't have that message. And I think that's what I hear you saying as well. How many people died from COVID versus with COVID is a different answer. The situation today is so different when this monster virus was made in a laboratory in Wuhan, China, and none of us had ever seen this virus, and we had no immunity to it. But today, every American's had COVID a dozen times probably, and we built up immunity. I think that's why both things are true. It was a miracle. Warp speed was a miracle. What President Trump and his team did, and it saved millions of lives most likely. But it's also true that it probably killed some people. Like most vaccines do, there is a death rate associated. So both things are true. Anything else you want to clear up on the morbidity, mortality of COVID and COVID vaccines?
Well, I think you just cleared it up. The COVID vaccine was critical. President Trump's leadership got it to us when our society was locked down. It allowed us to open up. It was, as I said, perfectly matched to a virus that was new in the experience of humanity. And so it was a miracle. Right now, we're dealing with completely different circumstances, where the virus has mutated, where it's much less dangerous, where there's a lot of natural immunity and herd immunity. And so the calculus is different, and it's complicated. And, if you just want to turn everything into a soundbite, it makes it, you can't have a grown-up conversation. But, there were more reports to VAERS, which is the only surveillance system that we have, of injuries and deaths from that vaccine that all vaccines put together in history. So we have to acknowledge that there was a cause. We acknowledge that there was a benefit. We can't quantify either one because of the data chaos at CDC, and that's all I'm saying. And they think I'm being evasive because I won't make a kind of a statement that's almost religious in nature. Did it save 1 million lives? Well, there's no data to support that. There may be data, there's no study, there's modeling studies, there's faulty data. I'm not going to sign on to something if I can't do it to a scientific certainty. It doesn't mean that I'm, anti-vax. It just means I'm pro-science.
Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. Senator Lujan.
I think his answers are brilliant. I think it's what we needed. I'm glad he did what he did. I mean, I really do. I really do. I hope we are able to wake up enough people, but I question that frequently. There was someone I was watching recently that he was on, Michael Salla. He was talking about Law of One, something I'm going to be doing here in a very short period of time, at least today's episode. That'll be a short one today, oddly. But just talking about how the information's come out, how the attacks happen, how this control over what we're allowed to figure out during this time in history. And this individual, I don't know, he had less, his belief in how many people were going to ascend or graduate was pretty low. And I was like, I don't know, I think more of us are going to make it than that. But it did kind of humble my expectations a wee bit as well. Again, it's not a failure. It's not a bad thing. There's no way to fail. But there is a challenge in front of all of us, and how we as individuals handle that challenge is really what's going to decide a lot of things. Ultimately, it's going to be, what did you do? And if you can look back at what you did, and you can do it with pride and gratefulness and like happiness, and then yeah, you're going to be a lot better off than those that are like, yeah, I really could have done a lot more. And so we'll see. Pro-science Gavin Newsom launches his own CDC with Oregon and Washington. There was one of the politicians was talking about how they were going to make their own thing in the Pacific Northwest because there's more people per capita with doctorate degrees, so they're going to go ahead and fund it. Here's the thing, Gavin, you better not use California taxpayer money to create your own version of CDC. We have a CDC. We don't need more people lying. But again, who's getting paid by this? Now, go ahead, pharmaceutical companies, waste your money on this. I dare you. I triple dog dare you. Fuck it, I'm going to go straight to it. I don't give a shit. Triple dog dare your punk ass to do it. Go for it. We'll still beat you. You don't control the information anymore. We are and will continue to win. And, well, converse of that, you're not going to be on the winning side. So that we'll call you losers just for the moment. But, yeah. Citigroup hands BlackRock $80 billion of assets in a wealth deal. And the big picture, that's not a lot of money. It sounds like there's some crumbs that they had to swipe off their plate. I know it sounds ridiculous, but these people have trillions of dollars invested in a lot of these funds, these IRAs and these 401ks and just a whole slew of different crazy funds. Russia-China gas deal. This is going to affect liquid natural gas in a big way. The market, too, they're saying. These two, and I think a big part of this argument, not so much this article. This article, I don't think does a great job. Russian Times is trying to make it sound like Russia's great. We made a great deal with China. Yeah, you did, and good on you. No ripping on you there. But this is, you guys did the deal based off of market prices for liquid natural gas, and you're doing it based off your own currencies, which is kind of a cool thing. A little Brixy, which is also cool, but it's affecting the world price, which is also cool. It should affect the world price. You guys shouldn't be able to do it behind closed doors. So, they're saying it's a bad thing, good thing, whatever. Job numbers this Friday. The Fed is supposed to maybe cut rates by 50 basis points because we're expecting the job numbers to suck. We'll see. They probably do. I don't know. I'm expecting it and planning for it, but the stock market didn't seem all that concerned today. We'll see where exactly at this moment. In fact, it looks like that was Asia I was looking at. Yeah, supposedly one of those had a crash today, but I was like, I didn't see any crash. So the Dow's up a teeny tiny bit. It looks. NASDAQ up almost 1%. Big whoop. Gold is down a teeny bit, still above 36. What do we got for silver? Silver's down a teeny bit, still 41.38. Again, it broke past 40. It's $1.38 past 40. And remember 33.50, that was the base for gold. It's at 36.06. So it's 250 above that base. It made a big giant jump. Yeah, it did a little droppy drop today. It's still above 3,600. Our inflation's not stopping at all. Gold oil's down a little bit. That's nice. 63 though. It's up-ish a little. It's been hovering around the $60 mark. I think if it gets above 70, we're going to start to see some craziness. But whatever the case is, look, if you got a 401k or an IRA, I don't think it's a good idea to stay in the system. One, inflation's killing the dollar. So that's the thing. Like I've got 1,000 stock. I've got 1,000 units of stock, such and such, and then they're worth $100 a share, right? So there you go. I got $100,000 sitting right there. But that's dollars and then stocks. So you got two factors that are definitely having problems. One, the value of the dollar is losing every single day. Inflation's definitely not getting better, not even close. Trump's doing a lot of things that's going to protect us from the crash that's coming. That's ultimately what matters. The crash that is coming is what will matter. Europe, not really doing anything. Germany's starting to. England's kind of. So these two countries maybe will make it. France doesn't seem to be. And I think Hungary maybe, Turkey maybe. Like there's the places that are probably going to do maybe okay. Because they're not following the blueprint into destruction. But European Union, toast. It's not going to make it through this. There's going to be a crash. Asia, I'm curious, because they don't really have a structure in their economy to really do where their own people start to buy products. And they don't seem to be making any changes. So China's probably going to have a hard time with this. Certainly Europe and many other parts of the country, the world. But we are actually positioned to where it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt bad, but not nearly as bad as everybody else. One way you can protect your wealth is precious metals. Precious metals hold the buying power. It's like putting the buying power of your dollar right now into this amount of ounces of gold and silver, and that power will hold through what happens. And just the best example, I used to use the loaves of bread thing, but it's hard to do these days. But the one gold coin, right? I think I got one here. One gold coin, okay? This right here, 1 ounce of gold. Worth about $3,600 right now, right? This is what it would roughly cost me to get a handmade tailor suit. This is what it would cost back in the day to get a handmade tailor suit. These things carry the value. You're not going to necessarily get rich, though there is a weird multiplier effect that's going on, but this protects your buying power. It protects your wealth. You've been spending years accumulating this. Don't let a stock market crash and a crap dollar take that from you. Protect it right now while we go through this transition. We're going into some new currency. The Fed has to go away. We've all seen the Q posts. It has to. If you've got a 401k or an IRA and you've still got money in it, highly consider divesting that money. Get into precious metals. It's an IRA. It's tax-free and penalty-free, right? It is something you can still buy into if you want to, and it's also something you can cash out as precious metals. It's physical metals, literally put into a trust. They're yours. You can cash out. Tax-free, penalty-free. Well, sorry. You can get into it tax-free, penalty-free. Cashing out part depends. That's cashing out. The IRA's, whatever. You can be like, hey, you got $100,000 in gold. And you'd be like, where? I don't know. It sank in a boat where all my weapons and firearms were. I don't know what happened. Right? Like, I don't know. I don't know how you do it. And I'm not suggesting you do that because that's not legal. But my point is, you can get into precious metals. It's physical metals. You're going to get up to 10% free silver for doing this. Up to 10% of whatever the face value is of your 401k or IRA. Get out of their system. Tax-free, penalty-free. Get out of their system. Quickly. All your questions asked. Get out of their system. My good friends at Goldco can help you do this. They're so good at it. They're amazing. They're actually really, really cool people. I've talked to a bunch of them over there. Love them. And I've actually am a customer as well. Go to drslikesgold.com. 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 Get out of that stupid system before they get out of you. And that day definitely is coming. Definitely is coming. Did Russia really jam von der Leyen's plane? Well, Russia's basically saying, and the information that seems to be somewhat publicly available, I guess, regarding number flight radar 24, the Gov Service Western journalists themselves usually rely on for in-flight information, on Monday quietly brought the claims flying out of Brussels back down to Earth. Its data showed good GPS signal quality from takeoff to landing. The aircraft touched down 9 minutes late, not an hour. When activists online tried to poke holes, FR-24 doubled down with a second statement. The telemetry is clear. No signal loss, no blackout. Furthermore, the flight path published by FR-24 shows a standard figure of either approach and landing, no circling. In other words, no evidence of Russian jamming, no missing hour that the Ursula von der Leyen claimed happened, no emergency fallback paper maps existed, none of the shit. They said. They made up a bunch of stuff with her "these are not the droids you're looking for" nonsense that she did. Good job, Ursula, but we are on to you. You will not get away with this, guys. Deep State, you're so screwed. So screwed. It's going to suck balls for you guys. Really will. It's going to be really unfortunate, especially those of you that are still like grinding in your heels. Oh my God, it's going to suck bad. So bad. The stronger you resist, the worse it's going to be. That's all I can say. Kremlin blasts unacceptable Western plan for Ukraine's security guarantees. Yeah, Russia's like, no, there's no NATO troops going to be there, period. End of story. That's not happening. Where there will be no security deal made where this world exist. This is, again, von der Leyen running around. This is what we're going to do. No, you're not. No, you're not. Trump's already said, no, you're not, von der Leyen. So, again, she's just full of shit. This is the deep state desperately trying. And here's what the deep state's sitting with right now in Europe. They're facing a 1 trillion, I'm assuming, euro rearmament bill. Because we're pulling out. We're expected to pull out 30% of our forces to shift those over to Asia Pacific, which is where they should be. Again, shows what's actually up. And then basically, like, yeah, we don't consider Russia to be something to be worried about. We're not worried about Russia taking over the world. You guys might be. Okay, fine, whatever. That's cool. Be scared. Oh my God. Booga yaga, right? Like, oh, no. Oh, shucks. Oh, gosh. Like, no, we don't give a shit. All right, whatever. Have fun. Europe, suck it. Basically, meh. I think that's enough. Israel, not that they talk this way. It's like this shirt, though. I got the shirt on right now with the pointy finger. Do it now. Israel's ultimatum to Hamas: surrender or see Gaza City destroyed. They're going to rush in. IDF is moving deeper into Gaza City. The world's not going to like this. They're not doing a very good job selling this. I don't know how to feel about this. I kind of know how to feel about it. I think they're doing extra death. I think Trump's trying to play this line carefully, and I think he's been oddly quiet, which would imply to me that he's like, I don't approve of what you're doing. I'm not cool with people attacking you because that's a safe stance to have. Like, again, it's just the optics that Trump is choosing right now are very, 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 very specific. Very careful when it comes to Israel. You can't go against Israel, or you will be beaten up, for sure. Trump would be beaten up horribly. And, I mean, I think for the most part, there's a lot to call out in positive ways for Israel. I'm not trying to push down any of that either, because there's a wonderful number of Jewish people. There's another huge problem, though, and we've got this Khazarian sect within the Jewish community. And so, again, what's happening, we'll see. XAI's CFO steps down. Latest in a string of executive departures. Musk is having a very hard time right now, and for good reason. Musk is extraordinarily hard to work with and work for. And this is coming out all over the place. Relationships, he's had numerous wives, numerous mothers of babies. He's had numerous people he's worked with professionally that no longer work with him at all. So Musk is he's having a very difficult time. And again, I think it's demonstrating something that I think is important to call out. Musk is not a Trump. Musk wants to be a Trump, but he's not. He's just not. So again, a lot of things are happening in the big picture. Personally, I think Musk could start focusing on the cell phone thing. You know, a secure cell phone that's good and can, you know, download apps and everything else. I think if he comes up with something like that, he'd be a rock star, and it'd probably be a great business for him to get into. Just throwing that out there. Because we obviously see Samsung and Apple are doing their nonsense to try to control us. We believe X is free speech. We'd probably believe Musk if you put a phone out that it would be a free speech phone. You know what I mean? Could be cool. The X phone, I'm sure you would call it. Needless to say, we'll see what happens. I love you guys. Got a wonderful Law of One happening today. It's a little different set of episodes. We don't learn as much about stuff like we normally would, but we actually learn more about how psychic attack affects us, how our energy affects us, how if we're out partying hard night after night and then wondering why our energy's all whacked out and we're getting sick and stuff, it explains more of that aspect of our living. And I think that's a powerful component that we need to understand when it comes to life and what it's presenting us. So again, the Law of One series, a lot of fun. Not necessarily for everybody. Some people get a little weird about it. I don't think it's something to be weird about. I think it's people that are super sensitive about stuff that's a little outside their comfort zone. Ultimately, it's just good information for how to live nowadays. A little bit larger explanation to our universe, solar system, and stuff like that. And I don't know, personally kind of continues where the Bible, I feel like, leaves off, frankly. I think there's a lot of stuff the Bible just doesn't really get into, and people are reading something that's 2,000 years old, and it's like, yeah, but I'm going to get something different out of it when I read it this time. Sure you will. I'm sure you're going to understand it differently, but it's still 2,000-year-old information, roughly. In many cases, it's not even that much. But whatever. Let's just keep it at the normal numbers. So again, I just think it does a good job continuing on. I think it actually speaks well of how karma and the concepts of karma at least work. I think it speaks to service to self, service to others very well, or what some would deem as the left-hand, right-hand path. The two paths that are acceptable in this world, and that is, it's well done. And that's what this fight is all about, is the two paths fighting each other. So all of this stuff is relative and relevant in my mind, but I don't know. Some of you guys agree. Many of you do, actually. And some of you probably don't. That's cool. I love you guys. We're going to keep doing what we're doing, and, we'll see how many of you come on board. But I love you guys. Where we go one, we certainly go all. It's on the Fringe with Dan, Radio Style.